We have a fantastic event today focused around network security testing. I'd like to welcome everybody. We have an audience here at the ICSA City facility. We also have over 100 folks who have registered online and will be viewing us via the web. So I'd like to welcome everybody. Thank you for joining. With a live demonstration of SonicWALL's next generation firewall, SuperMassive E Series 10800. Before we commence the live presentation, which would be administered by ICSA Labs, I want to highlight at a high level what are the objectives and where are we going to showcase. So first, as you enable these various security services within a next generation firewall, you have the firewall functionality, then IDS, IPS functionality, gateway antivirus, anti-spyware. As you enable these security layers, if you will, and security services, what's really important to understand, as some of the speakers have alluded to, what is the real impact to legitimate traffic? How do you deliver your mission-critical applications while still providing all these multiplicity of important security services within the network perimeter? And then also, it's also important with a lot of these devices being produced and manufactured by various service equipment manufacturers. When you enable these services, what we've seen is the CPU utilization goes to 100%, and you're not able to really sustain the type of performance, the type of throughput that is necessary to deliver your mission-critical applications. We have another test that actually focuses on effectiveness of threat detection and prevention. This is where we like to showcase and understand how can the next generation firewall reliably detect and prevent attacks against vulnerabilities, again, without really a noticeable impact to delivered throughput. And this is where you have full deep packet inspection, so layer 7 level of DPI that takes place. And then also, as Ram alluded to earlier, with proliferation of a variety of distributed denial of service attacks with WikiLeaks, you're seeing upwards of 10 gigabits plus of this type of attack traffic. What really happens to effective throughput? What happens to the voice, video, data, and variety of applications that you see in the network? And with this is actually the physical setup that you all have a chance to walk out. There will be a lunch served right after the live demo. This is the IXLoad attack running on XM12, a variety of 10 gig and 1 gig load modules against the SonicWALL's SuperMassive E10000 series. And having said that, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce David DeSanto from ICSA Labs. He's the program lead, and he'll be stepping through a detailed live demonstration of all of these areas that I outlined earlier.
During this demo, we'll be switching between two different IXLoad attack clients. As Arg pointed out, as he showed the picture, we're using two different chassis to perform this demonstration. Also, throughout the demo, we'll be going back and forth between the IXLoad attack clients as well as the SonicWALL SuperMassive web UI. So first, I'd like to thank Arg for introducing me, and good afternoon to all the attendees here as well as on the webcast. For the purposes of this high-level demonstration, I'll be showing some of the features of IXLoad attack as well as IXLoad, as well as some of the features of SonicWALL SuperMassive E10800 next generation firewall, and specifically with that will be their deep packet inspection engine or DPI engine. For the first demonstration, we want to highlight throughput with no DPI enabled. The throughput of the SuperMassive firewalls is very high. It's above 10 gigabits per second, so we would like to highlight that first before enabling the DPI engines. Okay, now while this is loading, I would like to give you a quick overview as to what will be actually happening. For the first part, we'll only be focusing on the top half of this. What we're simulating is clients on your LAN, protected by your firewall, traversing outbound to unknown websites on the internet, unknown application servers. Also, at the same time, we'll be simulating clients connecting inbound. These may be people that you know, they may be your end users. They also may be people such as visitors to your website, say if you're hosting your website yourself. Traversing inbound to your application servers. Let's talk about what will be actually highlighted during the first demonstration. First, once we have some sustained time of throughput, we will go through and enable each of the individual parts of the DPI engine inside the supermassive firewall. The first will be the IPS engine. And as Arg mentioned, there are three parts to make up the DPI engine for SonicWALL. The first being the IPS engine. Once that is enabled, the supermassive will have to then inspect every data payload traversing for known vulnerabilities. Once we let that run for some time to show you the impact of that on the throughput, we'll then enable the rest of the parts of the DPI engine, which is malware, specifically their gateway AV and their anti-spyware protection. This anti-spyware and malware detection will also then have an impact on the throughput. This throughput will also be lowered a little bit because as of that point, the 10800 will also not only be inspecting for known vulnerabilities, it will be inspecting for malware, including viruses and spyware. This is the 96 cores that we'll be putting under load. Throughout this, we'll be seeing this dynamically adjust, starting from right to left for you in the audience. It's the first core going straight across over to the 96th core. So what you're going to have on your left is the throughput objective. This is the area where we will monitor the actual throughput going through the E10800. On the right will be some latency measurements. Latency is obviously a very important thing to be keeping track of. You don't want it to be an appreciable value. What IXFloat will be simulating, let me get to my numbers here so I give you the exact numbers. We'll be simulating 4,000 clients on the LAN side connecting to 80 simulated servers on the WAN side. And as I mentioned, it's going to be bidirectional. That's very important. You know, obviously, networks aren't built to be, I guess some networks can be built to be one way only, but in the real world, people are buying their devices, they're deploying it so that you have a WAN side and a LAN side, or a WAN, LAN, and DMZ, so you have things hosted, you have your OWA servers, or you have access to whatever it may be remotely, you have inbound roles. So we want to be able to simulate that as part of the demonstration. It's configured for multiple sessions per client. To let you know that we mentioned it's the 4,000 on the LAN, 80 servers on the WAN. As I showed in the one diagram, which we'll go back to in a minute, there's also clients on the WAN side connecting to servers on the LAN. That's also 4,000 clients connecting to another 80 servers. So here you go. This has now been running for 1 minute and 48 seconds, and we're sustaining just above 40 gigabits per second of throughput. Let's now enable the first part of the DPI engine. And I have two tabs open here so we can watch the multi-core here. As you can see, we're loading the data plane at about 95, 96%. In the other tab here, I will also then be making modifications and showing you logging as we go through. So the first one we want to enable is the IPS engine. And as you can see from the web UI, we are detecting and preventing high, medium, and low priority attacks. So now we have the intrusion prevention part of the engine enabled. Let's go back and watch our throughput. And as you can see, it'll start to go down. And this will continue to go down and it'll level out just above 30 gigabits per second. it's beginning to level out. Now let's go back and look at the 96 cores. As you can see, it looks about the same. It's around 90% right now. Now we let this run again for a couple of minutes, so let's now enable the last part of it, which is the malcode detection. And I'll be enabling both the anti-spyware and the gateway AV at the same time. Okay, so that's now been applied. As you can see, the rate of throughput will go down again. This will level out around 10 gigabits per second. Through our preparation for this high-level demonstration, we were seeing it closer to 12. So we'll let that level back out before we move on to the next part of the demonstration. So now that all those engines are enabled, I'd like to recap what we're actually seeing. So now the E10800 is now having to inspect not only every data payload traversing it for known vulnerabilities, but also have to inspect it for all types of malware. Let's check on those cores one last time. As you can see, it's bouncing around, stays around the 90% range. So, okay.